Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the person who checked with our dentist to make sure this game was dental approved.
Sarah.
You know, it's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
And this is a review of Crown of Emara. Now, if you want to check out our two-player perspective and accessibility, check out Rolling with Two, Crown of Emara, our other video for this game. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. In Crown of Emara, players navigate two rondels to move two different markers on the score track. One rondel produces resources while the other utilizes those resources to move the two scoring markers. But be warned, only the lower of the two markers will be your score at the end of the game. So, Will, why did we get this?
We saw a lot of reviews that
were really positive.
Yeah, were really positive and kept mentioning this. Now, this is an older game. I think this was 2019.
Something like that, I feel like.
So we threw up
on
the math trade and got a brand new copy.
Yeah, that was really nice to see. Brand new copy. They missed out.
Good trade.
Good trade. Foreshadowing. Okay, so what do we like about the game? Well, those modular boards are really interesting. It creates quite a bit of variable game space.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily count on the rondel being in the same space every order every time. So there's no right way to plan well, I know I have to do this, then this, then this.
Right.
Well, no, now it's all in a different order, so maybe that changes.
Yeah. Now, there's only 4 spaces for each rondel, so it's not amazingly different. You could still have a few things in the same order, but it's enough difference, especially because you will start on a different space every game. How you go about doing things will always change.
Yes. So. Plus, it also throws in events, which change from all 6 rounds are going to be just slightly different.
Yep.
And there's just a lot to also do in the game where you're well, I know I need this resource to buy this, or I could go after this to do this, or I could do this to get a higher rank in the nobility.
Right. So the interesting thing is there's only 2 main goals in the game. Is because you have 2 score markers, your population and your housing. And your housing starts at a higher point at the beginning of the game, but your population starts at 0. So your main thing for the beginning of the game is to use resources to gain population. But there's a lot of ways to use the resources in different ways in the city to move that population up. And then eventually when you get that up and it's more equivalent to housing, then you start using your resources to balance the two and getting housing in different ways. So it's really nice that you're not locked to oh, this resource can only ever do this thing and give you that benefit. No, that you can use them in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. And then it all comes down to timing.
Yes.
Can I reach the spot where the resources I have will benefit me the most?
Right. Because that's the other thing. And this could shift throughout the game. One round, you're okay, I'm going to go after this resource to do that thing in the city. Well, next round, maybe just timing or how things go, it just doesn't work for you to go after the same resource. So you go for different resources and you do different things. So it even evolves as you're playing the game. Yeah.
The other nice thing is the fact that a lot of games will trip up because players will block each other.
Right.
There is no blocking in this game.
No.
It's the rondel spaces are completely open. Any number of players can be on any one of the spaces at any time. So it's really you blocking yourself based on poor timing.
Right.
Rather than someone else. The best someone else can do to even mess with you is maybe buy an advisor out from under you that you're planning to buy.
Or put craftsmen on there are limited spaces to put craftsmen out in the resource board, and there's only 3 per resource space. And so once they're full, then that's it. But then you only have so many craftsmen anyways, so you could just go on a different one. But again, timing is the critical thing, and while it would seem overwhelming, it does a very good job of managing it because you only get 3 cards per round, and you only have 3 spaces. Those spaces will determine how far your person can move, and your card determines other benefits, which could include movement as well. And so because the cards are random each round, but you have a set number of cards. So as you go through, you have 9 cards. You know exactly what. As you play the game more, you'll know what those cards are. So once you've used X number of cards, you're like, okay, I know something's coming up.
Yeah, I haven't seen the stone producer.
Right.
I know that's coming.
Yeah. So you can start planning, but only so far. So it's very manageable bite size because you're like, well, I have to do the most efficient thing I can with the cards I have in my hand, even though you might be bemoaning the fact that, yeah, I needed my stone producer. That would have been better. But I've got the wood producer and I've got this other card that does this other thing. So you shift, you change, and you do different things. And I don't know how exactly to put it. It's like there are rails, but they're movable.
Yeah.
So it's like there's guidelines and things, but you can still do a lot of things within that frame.
Yeah, I think it's like, well, it can only go up to here and here,
right?
But there's a lot of space, a lot of play space in between those guide rails.
And for me, that is like exactly what I need because like pure open, like you can plan anything and do anything just overwhelms me because I need kind of that guidance, not pull me by the nose and tell me exactly what I have to do. I really don't like those ones that are so restricting, like if you don't do X, you're not going to do well in the game. That irritates me. But here, it's not like that. It's that room to breathe and do the things you want, but not overwhelming in the having too many ways or too many things to think about.
Yeah, I think it's like going to a big store.
Yeah.
Going into an aisle and seeing a sign that says what's in the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
It lets you be more efficient with your time so that you're not, well, I can probably find a camp stove here and I can also find pain medication.
Why those two are next to each other, but...
Right, because this aisle in this store has no organization. Some games feel that way.
Yes, that
is
true.
This game is not. It's like, no, this is what you're dealing with. And you're like, okay, I know what I can deal with. I know what my limitations are. I can plan better.
Right. And so not only are you balancing these 2 rondels because you have a worker on each, and each time you play a card, for the most part, you're only moving one of them. Unless your card has movement, then you can move 2. But you're moving one or the other on each turn, so you're trying to figure out exactly what the best things to do are. But you're also trying to balance those 2 score markers, and I just find that there are other games that have tried to do that where you... Two markers, either they meet in the middle and that's the end game trigger, or your lowest one is your winning score. And I'm not sure I've 100% liked it in other games, not that I've played that many, but here I really like it. And I think part of it is that setup of your house one already starts ahead. You've got housing pre-planned. You need to get people in the door. And so you're focusing on that, but that helps you get prepared to the point of, okay, now I can start doing housing, but now I can start doing both.
I think it also helps the fact they're on the same track.
Yes, so they're much easier to see.
It's easier to visualize, like, well, the citizen is farther back, so I need more popularity.
Population.
Is it popularity?
It's population. It's people literally in the houses.
Put the butts in the homes.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
Anything else? So again, with the rondels, there's no... one of the things that irritates me with some rondels is that you're actually moving around usually tiles, and when you land on a tile, you take it. And that means you're denying other people that thing. But again, as you said here, there's no blocking each other. There's no taking. You are either potentially making something slightly more expensive or worth less, but that doesn't deny the action.
Correct.
You can still do it.
Yes. And then everything you do in the game is non-aggressive.
Yes. And I really appreciate both those aspects. Just other games, that's the part that usually breaks down for me.
He's like, that's mean. Yeah. Don't be mean.
Don't be mean. I don't like it. Okay. Moving on to what we don't like about the game. The theme. Oh gosh, the story at the beginning of the rules doesn't make a lick of sense.
It's painful.
It is. I'm really sorry whoever wrote that. It doesn't make sense. It's not very good, and it's It's like someone did a first pass and
no one ever bothered to change it.
Yeah. Which is sad because the mechanisms are fantastic, but the king, not that the king is dying or the king is
in trouble in any
trouble.
way.
No, the king is like, I think I'm thinking about retirement.
And instead of doing any normal monarch type,
like it's going to my eldest born son.
Right. No, we're throwing that out. It's like, well, then it goes to the highest ranking nobility. No, we're not doing that either. How about people in houses?
Yeah. You're going to go prove how noble you can be by getting people in houses. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, don't get me wrong. That's a really good way to run your kingdom.
Yeah, it really is. If you care that much about people, to make sure that they have houses and that the houses have people, I mean, yeah, that works.
Yes.
But why that's going to determine whether you make a good king?
Because the old king said so.
I'm happy he's retiring and not like assassinated.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Lastly there is some visual accessibility. The graphic design is not great. They tried, I will say, to make a more visually accessible side. So there's a full color side of the boards, and the flip side is sepia tones. The problem is all your iconography is very similar tones. It's just not high contrast.
Yeah, but we really get into that in our Rolling with Two video, so please check that out for our accessibility issues.
Agreed. Okay, let's move on to who this is for.
For this game, I would say it's intermediate on up.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah, casual gamers, they're going to be a little bit overwhelmed.
I think so.
Or they'll find the theme dry. And that might not go over well. It's just mechanically, it's really fantastic. And I think an experienced gamer will see that and just have a blast playing this game.
And they won't care about the theme.
Very true.
All right, let's move on to our ratings.
So for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Crown of Emara, the dental approved game, roll for you?
It rolled a 5. I just really like the rondelles. And like I said, I have this kind of weird love-hate relationship. I really want to love rondelles. I think the concept is usually really great. And for some reason, I never get it. It's just I've had some games just make me angry.
They're too big, or there's too much denial.
Right. It's just something about it is not manageable for my brain. The planning ahead, trying to figure out what the other person is doing, because usually it's a denial thing. Here, I mean, yes, I care what Will is doing, but only to a certain point, because he can't actually stop me from doing anything I want to do. Now, he might take an advisor, he might take a craftsman spot that I wanted, but there's usually ways to pivot and still get things done. So I really, really enjoy that aspect, and I enjoy balancing it, the manageable card planning, the fact that most of the events are positive.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm sorry, there's a lot of games that have events that are very negative, but I am a firm believer that events should only ever move the game forward. So this game does that for the most part. We think we found one where one action, one round wouldn't be as valuable.
Yeah.
But it really also still wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was very tame in terms of being a negative.
Yeah, it's like you got one less house when you earned houses. And okay, so you could either choose not to gain houses that round.
And that's what we chose.
And that's what we chose. So it was, you work aroundable, not you can't do farming. I didn't even know that there's farming in here, but you can't do X this round. Those are the type of things. So anyways, events are positive. I really, really like that.
All right, for me, also a 5. Fantastic mechanics, fantastic game, poor theme. Yeah. That's ultimately what it came down to me for, is like, yeah, I could do without the theme. But I like so much else of the game that it scores pretty high.
Agreed.
So 10 out of 12, fantastic score.
Yes.
All right, Sarah.
Yes.
Since we complain about the theme, what do you think the theme should be?
Oh, gosh. I mean, with what you're doing, you could still just make it a basic town builder. I mean, I know that's not the most exciting, but it could make more sense. I mean, you wouldn't have to change it too much, just like you are I don't know, maybe mayor of this new town and you're trying to get population in and you've got these set things set up so that you can work the fields and build the things. And I don't know, what would you, I honestly can't figure out what I'd do better.
Well, the first thing I did after playing the game is fantasize about what theme I would retheme it as.
And I didn't give a damn, so I didn't care.
Yeah. So my thought was each player plays a big super company that makes dang near everything. And so you'd have, funny little names. And the two score markers, one would be your actual sales numbers, and the other one would be your customer loyalty. And so you're trying to balance all that out to really sell it to the stockholders, that you did a good job as CEO. And one rondel is the production, and so you're managing your production lines of your products, whatever they are. And then instead of the town, those are all the areas in which you engage with exhibits where you go and show off, get awards, go and show it off on like home shopping networks, do actual business with other little affiliated companies, and that's where your like advisors come in, all that type of thing, to promote it as just big business, the game of Emara.
I can see that.
Yes. All right, that's it for us, and we've been Rolling with Reviews. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with Two, that's TWO. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Discord, we have a channel on Tabletop Express. Check the show notes for the invite link.
If you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.